Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about the massive hype around artificial intelligence. We're going to break down why this whole financial bubble might just be about to burst and really explore what a post-AI world could actually look like for our economy, our communities, and, our creativity. This question right here, it just cuts through all the noise, doesn't it? I mean, with every single new AI tool and platform that gets launched, it feels like fewer and fewer of us are actually asking for them. And yet, the industry just keeps building at this insane pace. So, what's behind it all? Yep, money. Yeah, an amount of money that's, well, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. This is what tech companies are projected to spend on AI infrastructure just for 2025. And to put that into perspective, this kind of spending is creating a massive financial bubble that's already having some very, very real consequences. So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the AI investment bubble itself. Then, we'll peel back the layers on this trillion-dollar illusion that's propping it all up, and see the hidden environmental cost. After that, we'll get into the algorithm's disconnect from actual human creativity. And finally, we'll imagine a more human-centric future and talk about how we can start reclaiming our internet. Let's get into it. All right, first up, the AI investment bubble. Let's dive right in. I mean, the sheer scale of the financial bet on AI it's unlike almost anything we've ever seen before. And it's all being fueled by this frantic race to build out all the necessary infrastructure. Think about this for a second. The entire Apollo program, the one that put a man on the moon over a whole decade, that cost about $300 billion in today's money. The AI industry, they're spending that much and then some every 10 months. It's a level of investment that's, well, it's just not sustainable. And believe it or not, the spending is actually warping the entire economy. For the first time ever, the money being spent on data centers, the actual physical buildings that house all this AI stuff, has blown past the spending on office construction. In fact, just in the first half of this year, data center spending accounted for about half of all U.S. GDP growth. That's wild. It's a bubble that's literally propping up the whole market. Okay, next section, a trillion-dollar illusion. So how on earth is this incredible level of spending even being justified? Well, when you start to look a little closer, the numbers are built on a foundation of some, let's call it, very creative and frankly, very questionable accounting. Here's the official story you'll hear from the world's biggest tech companies. They say that the super expensive hardware they're buying, all those AI chips and servers, is actually becoming more durable. They claim this infrastructure has a longer and longer lifespan, which, surprise, surprise, makes their massive investments look way better on paper. And right here, this just illustrates the core contradiction perfectly. You've got companies like Microsoft and Amazon who are extending the useful life of their hardware in their accounting books. This little trick reduces their declared expenses and makes their profits look bigger. But at the exact same time, NVIDIA, the company that actually makes the chips, is speeding up its release schedule, making that very same hardware obsolete faster than ever before. It doesn't add up, does it? So here's the real kicker. Despite the trillions in investment and all the fuzzy math, the vast majority of businesses just aren't seeing a return. A recent survey found that a staggering 95% of U.S. companies that adopted AI reported that the software has failed to generate any new revenue. The hype, it seems, is just not matching reality. All right, moving on to the hidden environmental cost. Because this bubble isn't just financial. Nope, it has a massive physical footprint that's impacting real communities in our planet in ways that are getting pretty hard to ignore. Take places like Northern Virginia, for example. Entire residential communities are literally being boxed in by these massive, noisy data centers. These facilities are taking over spaces that used to be offices, churches, even historic sites. And because of poor zoning, they're being built right next to people's homes, which, as you can imagine, is dramatically lowering the quality of life for the residents there. And the resource consumption? It's astronomical. Right now, 4.4% of all energy generated in the United States goes to powering data centers. Just let that sink in. That is an almost unbelievable share of the national power grid, and it's growing every single day. Okay, now for the algorithm's disconnect. Beyond the financial and the environmental toll, there's another cost. It's a bit harder to measure, but it's just as damaging, and that's the erosion of human connection and creativity all across the internet. Now this is really interesting because it shows a fundamental shift. Before, around 2014, The main reason people used social media was pretty simple: to connect with friends. But after that, the whole purpose flipped. It became about killing time and consuming content from celebrities, all driven by algorithms that were designed to maximize your watch time, not your human connection. And of course, this shift has consequences for what we all see online. Creators are no longer trying to build a genuine community, they're trying to feed this algorithmic void. And the result? Content that feels sterile, fake, and just inhuman. And now with AI flooding these platforms, that feeling of digital loneliness is only getting worse. Okay, I know after all that, it can feel pretty bleak. But here's the paradox. The collapse of this AI bubble could be the very thing that pushes us toward a much better, more human-centric internet. Let's talk about that in this section, a human-centric future. Just think, as AI-generated content, what a lot of people are calling slop, continues to flood our feeds, making everything feel generic and soulless, true human creativity is going to become a premium. Authenticity will be the new scarce resource. People are going to actively seek out content, products, and experiences that are genuinely, proudly human-made. So imagine a new wave of social platforms built on a totally different principle. Not watch time, but connection. Platforms that actually ban AI-generated content, that favor subscriber-driven communities, and that ditch the recommendation algorithms altogether. Now, they might not be as profitable for big tech, but the demand for them, I think it's only going to grow. So, that brings us to our last section, reclaiming your internet. What does all of this mean for you right now? How can we all be a part of this shift back to a more human, more authentic internet? You know, it really starts with small choices. Actively seek out and support human creators. Talk about these issues with your friends and family. Just raise awareness. And maybe most importantly, make a conscious choice to disengage from that endless algorithm-fueled scroll that big tech wants you to be trapped in. Look, the bursting of the AI bubble could be messy. It could be chaotic for the economy. But it might also be the necessary reset we all need. A destructive event that clears the way for a renaissance of genuine human creativity and connection, both online and off. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. As our digital world becomes more and more artificial, is the ultimate status symbol going to be the ability to just log off? To touch grass? The answer to that question might just define the next decade of our culture. Thanks for tuning in.